So I thought maybe it'd be fun if we talked a little bit about voice-controlled robots. Now, Tomi's Verbot was one of the earliest ones that actually did control the robot by sampling your voice, holding the sample, comparing it, and all that sort of thing. So that basically you programmed in certain words into the robot. Then when you spoke them later into the wireless mic, it would perform those functions. So one of the earliest it's programmable, but also in real-time voice control, digital. The sampling rate was very, very low on it, so you needed to make sure that the words that you put into its memory to use were very different from each other, and that you were able to speak them exactly the same each time. Kind of finicky, in other words. But soon after that came out, there were the rip-off ones, like voice recognition Robocom. This one here. There's a lot of them that all kind of look the same. But they had one that came out, and it was claimed to be voice controlled, and you do control it with your voice, but it does not actually recognize the words you're using. They would use a trick which actually was looking for the pauses between words. So for example, stop is a single word. They can recognize that as a sound and then a pause. And if you're going to make it go forward, you would say go forward. So now there's two sounds. It doesn't really care what the sounds are, but there are two. Go forward. And if you were going to turn left, you would have to say something more than just turn left. You know, they would keep building on the words so that there were more pauses in between the sounds. So it's actually counting, either way you want to look at it, as counting the sound bursts of the word or the pauses between the two. Kind of worked, kind of didn't. Of course, way back before any of these things existed, there was Robot Commando, which was originally, in its original box, sold as a voice-controlled toy. And of course, the PC police were around even back in 1961. So they made them drop that off the box and change it. Because on the remote, he's all mechanical, you know, there's no electronics in there. You can see that shiny metal plate in there. And you also have a reset button. But the idea was that if the kid is yelling into this microphone, you can see how it's shaped to go right around your mouth, that your breath would blow that piece of metal back. And once it's blown back, there's a magnet that would hold it back, and it would complete the circuit. And that would turn the motor on. I don't think I can do this with one hand to show you. But so in other words, it has more to do with blowing or breath. But legally, I think they should have been able to win that, because you can't talk or make a sound without exhaling air. That's how your vocal cords work. So whether the fact that it actually had anything to do with the word you're saying, it didn't. And it had to do with the fact that you're exhaling air when you're screaming a command like go forward, fire, stop, to make the little metal plate move. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, it didn't recognize words. It simply recognized that the kid was blowing air into the control unit. There are lots of other toys that were voice controlled that came along through the years. Both of these guys right here. Let's see their boxes. Here's one of their boxes. It says CommandBot, Ultimate Voice Recognition Robot, and you have a headset that you wear with a microphone and the whole bit. And here we have CommandBot 4 Ultimate, and it also has a headset which looks very different. And that would be these two guys here. Trying to think if we have anything else here. I know I do, but I haven't researched this. Basically, I walk out here and I get an idea of what I think you might find is an interesting video, and then I just start talking. Whereas I probably should research the stuff first so that I can really give you all the info. But I kind of want to do it as if you were actually here with me. One of the first toys that I ever had that wasn't really voice controlled but sound controlled was that dog back there. And I wasn't interested in all in the fact that it was a dog. This was way back in the early 1960s. when I was very young. I wanted to know how they were making that dog work by my whistling or clapping or making any sort of sound. So I actually asked for that. I think it was like for my birthday or something, and then of course immediately tore it apart to find out what the hell was going on in there. And that was actually fairly sophisticated. Inside the dog there was an actual microphone, an audio amplifier, a relay, and the sound would get amplified and it would trigger the relay, and then the relay would make the motor run long enough to turn a cam, which would turn on a switch. Then the dog would perform whatever function it was doing, whether it was walking or barking or whatever you had it doing, until the cam came back around, and then it would stop, and then it'd be ready for another command. So, not voice controlled, sound controlled. And of course, under the rulings of sound controlled and sonic controlled, there are so many toys that go off in that direction. I mean, you've got, since we're standing right here, you've got your tow bore with the clicker up there. And again, it uses a crystal earpiece, normally what you would have put in your ear for listening to a transistor radio back in the 60s. It's just a little crystal earpiece, but because it's a crystal, you can use it as a microphone, and they would actually use the signal from that crystal to trigger an SCR, which is a device that's sort of like a transistor, except once you trigger it, it stays on until you either remove power, that resets it, or short past it with something else. That'll reset it. So they would use the SCR to turn the motor on, and the motor would again complete a circuit, which would then turn the SCR off, and so on and so forth. But there were all kinds of sonic controlled toys. I think a lot of them are in the other side of the room. It's just that we were standing over here. Well, in these kits you got all kinds of sonic controlled toys too. See, any one of these ones that has a microphone sticking out of the top of it, they're all going to be sonic controlled. I know we've drifted completely away from voice controlled, but we're standing right here, and it's just like if you were here with me, right? I'm just going to ramble on about whatever the hell I want. That's just kind of the way I go. Seems like there were even some early sonic ones. I want to think I had some others over in this area. I know I do. I'm just not thinking where they are. Somewhere near some of these guys, one of them had a clicker, one of them was a sonic controlled robot. Wow, there's one of these guys here, one of the battery, talking, sonic control. This one right here. I knew there was at least one over here. But I think since we've drifted so far away from the original voice controlled, let's call that good for this.